tablespoons of peanut butter has 7 grams of protein. 1 egg has 6 grams of protein. But the protein you get from peanut butter doesn't really count. It has a digestibility score of 0.46. Eggs have a score of 1.13.
Does peanut butter protein not actually count? This individual is not looking at the digestibility score of these protein sources. She is looking at the DIAAS score, which stands for the Digestible Indispensable Amino Acid Score. That should make sense given that peanut butter apparently has a digestibility of over 100%. The digestibility of peanut butter is actually about 98%. However, the DIAAS score is in fact 46. This scoring system is quite complex. It essentially looks at the amount of amino acids per gram that you absorb from a protein source and compares it to 1 gram of a reference protein. And that reference protein is thought to be the optimal amount to support growth and development. Let me try and walk you through an example. In whole milk powder, per gram of protein, there are 78 milligrams of lysine. Lysine is just one of the 21 amino acids that make up all of the protein structures within our body. After digestion occurs, you would lose a very small percentage of this lysine, and you would absorb about 95% of the lysine found inside of whole milk powder, which means that in actuality, you would absorb about 74 milligrams of lysine per gram of whole milk powder. Depending on your age group, there are different reference amounts. The reference amount for lysine in an infant is 69 milligrams per gram. So you would digest about 74 milligrams per gram, meaning that if whole milk powder was the only food an infant consumed, if they ate the recommended intake of protein, they would be getting about 107% of their lysine requirement, which is why the DIAAS for lysine is documented at 1.07 for infants. And since lysine requirement goes down as we age, a child would get 130% of their lysine, and an adult would get 154%. When calculating the DIAAS score of a specific protein, they do this conversion for every single essential amino acid. And whichever amino acid is limiting, such as threonine in the case of mung beans, that determines the DIAAS score. It doesn't say anything about the digestibility of the amino acids inside of that protein source, rather the specific ratio and quantity of amino acids that you do absorb. And because peanut butter appears to be low in methionine and cysteine, peanut butter gets a subpar DIAAS score. Because, such as in the case of millet, you can have a high quantity of multiple amino acids, but if you're low on a single amino acid, being lysine, you could get a score of 19. So what does this score of 46 actually indicate? If the only food that you consumed all day long was peanut butter, you would have to consume approximately 2.2 times as much protein as you would normally consume to get all of your amino acids, because it would simply take that much protein to get enough methionine and cysteine. You will still absorb about 98% of the protein found in peanut butter. And since all of the proteins we consume have a different ratio of different amino acids, if you simply consumed your peanut butter with another protein source that contains an abundance of methionine and cysteine, the two proteins could essentially work together to provide you all of the amino acids that you need. Protein sources with low DIAAS scores still count, because most people consume multiple different sources of protein that all bring about different amino acid profiles. But if peanut butter was the only food in your diet, you would need to consume a very high concentration of protein in order to get enough methionine and cysteine. I know this was a little bit complicated, but I hope that makes sense. With that being said, if you would like an individualized approach to your nutrition and lifestyle to optimize your health, energy, and body composition, send me a DM to sign up for coaching.